Most millionaires you walk past on the street don't look like millionaires. They're not wearing designer watches or climbing out of luxury sedans. They're wearing regular clothes, driving regular cars, and living in houses that wouldn't make you look twice. Over 80% of millionaires are self-made, which means they started exactly where you probably started, and somewhere along the way, they figured something out that most people miss. It's not about earning more. It's about the psychological relationship they built with money that changed everything. Here's what actually separates them. Delayed gratification. Not the kind where you skip dessert. The kind where you think in decades while everyone around you is thinking in days. The average person sees $1 as something to spend. A millionaire sees it as stored energy, as future options, as freedom. They're not willing to trade for things that don't matter. Let's talk about what they refuse to buy, because the pattern reveals everything. New luxury cars top the list, and the reason is mathematical. A brand new car loses roughly 60% of its value in the first 5 years. You drive it off the lot, and thousands of dollars vanish instantly. According to Tom Corley's 5-year Rich Habits study, 92% of self-made millionaires don't drive luxury automobiles, not because they can't afford them, but because they've done the calculation and it makes no sense. The car gets you from point A to point B either way. The luxury version does it while burning your wealth at a rate that compounds negatively over time. They buy reliable, fuel-efficient vehicles, used when possible, daily coffee habits, and frequent dining out. The $5 latte. You've heard this one before, and you probably rolled your eyes because it sounds like the advice your grandfather would give. But add it up. $5 every morning is $1,825 a year. And frugal millionaires see that number clearly. They're not denying themselves coffee. They're making it at home with a good coffee maker and beans they actually enjoy. The experience is nearly identical. The cost is a fraction, and the savings get redirected into investments that compound. Dining out frequently, especially delivery services with all their fees, is another drain they avoid. When you order through an app, you're often paying double what the meal is worth by the time you factor in service fees, delivery charges, and tips. Millionaires who understand wealth building cook at home most of the time, not because they hate restaurants, but because the math is brutal and the return on that spending is zero. You'd think millionaires travel in luxury, but most don't. They choose economy over first class because both seats land at the same time. Why pay 3 times more for a few hours of slightly better comfort when that money could fund actual experiences at the destination? Travel, to them, is about what you do when you get there, not about showing off during the flight. The 5-star resort sounds impressive, until you realize you're paying a massive premium for amenities you'll barely use, while the same money could extend your trip by a week. Their closets reveal something interesting, too. Small, simple, timeless. Jonathan Sanchez, a self-made millionaire featured in CNBC, keeps a minimal wardrobe of straightforward pieces that don't require thought. No chasing trends, no fast fashion traps, no closet full of things worn once. This isn't about being boring. It's about recognizing that clothing beyond a certain baseline of quality and appropriateness adds nothing to your life except complexity and expense. Walk into their homes and check the pantry. Store brands, generic products. They're not brand loyal when the generic version is chemically identical. If the $2 cleaner works the same as the $10 one, they buy the $2 one every single time. This extends to everything: groceries, cleaning supplies, basic household goods. You'd expect millionaires to live in massive homes, but the smart ones don't. Bigger houses mean bigger property taxes, higher utilities, more maintenance, more things that break, more space to heat and cool and furnish. They choose homes that fit their actual needs, prioritizing location and efficiency over square footage. Every upgrade in lifestyle means more money flowing out permanently, and they're acutely aware of that trade-off. But here's what might surprise you most. The mindset underneath all of this isn't about deprivation, it's about something else entirely. The psychology underneath all of this isn't about deprivation, it's about something else entirely, something that changes how you see every purchase you'll ever make. It's delayed gratification, but not in the way that phrase usually gets thrown around. Most people hear delayed gratification and think sacrifice. Think giving up things you want now for some vague future benefit. That's not what's happening in the minds of frugal millionaires. They've rewired how they perceive value itself. When they look at a purchase, they're not seeing what it costs today. They're seeing what it costs in terms of future freedom. Every dollar is stored energy, future options, future time. When you spend money on something that doesn't matter, you're not just losing that money. You're trading away a piece of your future autonomy, and once you see money through that lens, spending decisions become almost mathematical. The question isn't, can I afford this? The question is, what am I giving up by choosing this instead of investing it? Warren Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. It's worth roughly $1.5 million now, but he's openly said he would have made far more money by renting and putting that capital into stocks. He still lives there, not because it was the best financial decision, but because it makes him happy. He's honest about the math, though. The stocks would have returned far more. He still eats McDonald's for breakfast, usually spending less than $3.17 on his morning meal. When he's feeling less prosperous, he goes with the $2.61 option, 2 sausage patties he puts together himself to make a sandwich. His daughter has talked about how he'd take his grandchildren to Dairy Queen for lunch, not because he couldn't afford better, but because he genuinely doesn't see the value in a $100 meal over a hamburger that tastes just as good to him. This isn't about being cheap. Buffett could hire a personal chef. He could eat at Michelin-starred restaurants every night. He doesn't because the extra cost doesn't translate into extra satisfaction, and spending money for no additional value feels irrational to him. That's the mindset. It's not deprivation, it's clarity. The question isn't, what can I buy? It's, what does this purchase actually give me that I can't get for less? Over 80% of millionaires are self-made, which means they didn't inherit this wealth. They built it, and they built it through behavior, not luck. A Fidelity investment study found that 86% of millionaires are self-made, meaning they did not inherit their wealth but built it through their own efforts. The research is consistent on this. Disciplined investing and regular contributions over time are the primary wealth drivers, not windfalls, not huge salaries, consistent behavior over time. They automate savings before they spend anything else, treating investment contributions like a bill that has to be paid every month. The money disappears before they can touch it. Pay yourself first isn't just a saying for them. It's an automated system that runs every single month without willpower or decision fatigue. But there's something deeper underneath that discipline. These people have a different relationship with comparison. Most of us fall into the trap of thinking more money will make us happier, and then once we start making more, we shift the goalposts. We start comparing ourselves to people who have even more, and the satisfaction never arrives. Research shows that after you make enough to cover your bills and save for the future, Additional income does very little for happiness. In some cases, it makes things worse because you become obsessed with the people above you on the wealth ladder. Frugal millionaires seem to have figured out how to step off that ladder entirely. They've stopped measuring themselves against others and started measuring themselves against their own goals. Your neighbor just bought a BMW. That used to bother you. Now you check your investment account and see you're 18 months from financial independence. That comparison doesn't land the same way anymore. It's not even the same sport. Social media makes this 10 times worse. You're not just comparing yourself to your neighbor anymore. You're comparing yourself to 8 billion people's highlight reels. But here's what the frugal millionaires know that most people don't. The person posting the luxury vacation might be financing it with debt. The person with the new car might be trapped in a lease they can barely afford. You're comparing your real financial situation to someone else's curated performance. There's a reason you walk past millionaires without knowing it. They don't advertise. They don't need to. Their wealth isn't on their body or in their driveway. It's compounding quietly in accounts you'll never see. But there's one more category that destroys more wealth than any of the others, and almost nobody talks about it. These are the invisible leaks, the slow drips. These are the invisible leaks, the slow drips, the subscriptions you forgot about, the extended warranties you never use, the impulse purchases that seemed small at the time. Individually, each one looks harmless. Together, they're devastating. Let's start with subscriptions. The average person carries 5 to 12 active subscriptions, streaming services, gym memberships they haven't used in months, app subscriptions, cloud storage, meal delivery kits. Each one feels small. $15 here, $50 there, $25 over there. But the average subscription spending has grown by over 30% in the last 5 years. Companies love subscriptions because they create steady, predictable revenue. For you, they create steady, predictable wealth erosion. The money leaves automatically. And because it's automatic, you stop noticing it. Extended warranties are another silent killer. Stores push them because they're extremely profitable for the retailer, not because they're good for you. Consumer Reports has consistently found that most products don't break during the extended warranty period, and the cost of the warranty often exceeds the cost of any repair you'd actually need. Then there are impulse purchases. The sale you didn't plan for. The gadget you didn't know existed until you saw it. The limited time offer that creates urgency where none existed before. Retailers engineer these moments carefully. They use limited time language. They use visual merchandising. They create an emotional urgency that bypasses your rational brain. Studies show that 84% of impulse purchases are later regretted. That's not a spending problem. That's an emotional regulation problem disguised as a spending problem. And the fix is remarkably simple. The 24-hour rule. When you feel the impulse to buy something that isn't essential, you wait 24 hours. That's it. No complicated budgeting system, no tracking app, just a pause button between the impulse and the purchase. In most cases, the emotional charge dissipates. The dopamine spike from the sale sign fades. You look at the item again and realize you don't actually need it. And that single pause saves most people thousands of dollars a year without feeling like they're depriving themselves of anything they genuinely wanted. So what do you actually do with all of this? The frugal millionaires have a system, and it starts with an audit. Go through your bank statements from the last 3 months and find every recurring charge. You'll be surprised how many subscriptions you're paying for that you haven't used in weeks. For warranties, the math is clear. Decline every extended warranty and instead put that money into a self-insurance fund. When something actually breaks, which it rarely does, you pay for the repair out of your fund. In the vast majority of cases, you'll never need it, and the money stays yours. When you add all of this up, the numbers are staggering. Recovering just $380 a month from these leaks, and that's conservative, and investing it at 8% over 30 years gives you over $615,000. That's not from earning more. That's from plugging holes in a bucket you didn't know was leaking. Think about wealth building in 3 layers. The first layer is earning. Everyone focuses on this. Get a better job, get a raise, start a side hustle. The second layer is keeping. This is where frugal millionaires excel. They protect what they earn by eliminating waste. The third layer is growing. That's where compound interest turns disciplined behavior into real wealth. Most people jump straight from earning to growing and skip the middle layer entirely. They earn more, spend more, invest what's left, and wonder why they're not building wealth. The middle layer is where the magic happens. It's the filter between your income and your investments. If the filter is broken, money leaks out before it can ever compound. Frugal millionaires are obsessed with keeping that filter intact. Every leak plugged means more money flowing into the growth layer. And because of compound interest, every dollar that reaches the growth layer multiplies over time. So let's bring it all together. The 7 spending habits frugal millionaires refuse to break. Number 1, they refuse to buy new luxury cars. 2, they skip the daily latte markup and make coffee at home. 3, they cook most meals instead of ordering delivery. 4, they choose economy travel over first class. 5, they keep a minimal, timeless wardrobe. 6, they buy generic over brand name whenever quality is equal. And 7, they live in modest homes that meet their actual needs. The formula is simple. Wealth equals what you earn minus what leaks out, multiplied by time and compound interest. Most people focus only on the earning side. Frugal millionaires obsess over the leak side because that's the variable they can control completely. And here's what all of this is really about. It's not about being cheap. It's not about suffering. It's about buying back your time. It's about waking up one day and realizing you don't have to work anymore because you made different decisions for 20 years. One path leads to looking rich and being broke. The other leads to looking average and being free. Frugal millionaires chose the second path, and the math proves they were right. If this video changed how you think about spending, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Capital Levels breaks down the real math behind wealth building every single week. Real money. Real math. No luck required. See you in the next one.